Welcome to the UK Travel Planning Podcast. Your host is the founder of the UK Travel Planning website, Tracy Collins. In this podcast, Tracy shares destination guides, travel tips, and itinerary ideas, as well as interviews with a variety of guests who share their knowledge and experience of UK travel to help you plan your perfect UK vacation. Join us as we explore the UK from cosmopolitan cities to quaint villages, from historic castles to beautiful islands, and from the picturesque countryside to seaside towns.
Hi, and welcome to episode 54 of the UK Travel Planner Podcast. Thanks for joining me this week. It's great to have you here again. And I just want to say a huge thank you for those of you who are joining us on a weekly basis to listen to the podcast. We really appreciate it. And so this week I thought I would chat about my favourite experiences in London. So as most of you will know, if you've been listening to the podcast before, and if you haven't, welcome to this episode. I've spent the last 3 months in Europe. Majority of the time has been in the UK, 10 out of the 12 weeks in the UK, and quite a significant amount of that time has been spent in London. So I thought I would talk about my favourite experiences of the last few months in London, because I've had some fantastic experiences, done some really amazing things, which I'd not done before. So some new things, been on some fantastic tours, and really had a really, really good time. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to kind of talk through those things that I've really enjoyed and potentially maybe give you some inspiration for your own trip and things that maybe you hadn't thought about that you might want to include in your own itinerary for London. So without further ado, I will just mention as well that these are in no particular order, and I'm going to go through all 10, give you kind of a brief introduction, a brief kind of summary of what I did, and hopefully at another point I will have more in-depth podcast about some of these experiences. But as I say, I thought today would be a good chance to give you a bit of an introduction. And number 10 is I'm going to talk about a photo shoot in London. And I've actually been really happy and lucky enough to catch up with Dommy from Scale and Studio, who has done 3 photo shoots actually now for myself and Doug in London. So at the end, after I've talked through the top 10 things, there is an interview with Dommy where we talk about the experience of having a photo shoot in London. So do stay tuned for that, because it was brilliant to catch up with her and say we really enjoyed having a chat. So anyway, let's talk about the top experiences. So my favourite over this last few months has been my visits to the Tower of London. Now, I've been to the Tower of London many, many times before. This trip I was lucky enough to do the opening ceremony again, which I did last year when I was here. I did that, and I've managed to do that again this year, and I absolutely love it because you get to go into the Tower of London early, kind of VIP, you get to see the opening ceremony. So it's very special. Get to go into the jewel room first. So, you get in there before all the crowds arrive. But what I did recently, in fact, just about 10 days ago, it was the first opportunity I had to go to the ceremony of the keys, which is the closing ceremony at the Tower of London. Now, that ceremony is being carried out now for around 700 years, every single night. So there is a set routine of what happens during the ceremony of the keys, the actual closing of the Tower of London. And I did this tour with walks, same as I did the opening ceremony with tour group walks. So thanks very much to Walks for inviting me to do this tour. Now, I'll tell you what was really special about it is this is a VIP experience, I have to tell you. We were met by a yeoman warder. So we met Matt, yeoman warder Matt, who there's 14 of us. We spent 1.5 hours in the company of Matt, the yeoman warder at the Tower of London, and he showed us around. So we actually learned a lot of the history. He was able to tell us things and show us things that you can't do when you've got thousands of people wandering around the Tower of London. I have never been to the Tower of London where there was just me, 13 other people, and a yeoman warder, because by that point, everybody had left. So it was just us in the Tower of London. It was amazing. Absolutely fantastic. He also had the keys for the chapel. We were able to go. I cannot tell you how excited I was about this. We were able to go into the chapel. We were able to see see everything in the chapel. And Matt talked us through what we're looking at. So obviously you've got, the final resting place of Anne Boleyn. Just amazing. I can't even go into it because it was just so fantastic. But believe me, if you get the opportunity to attend the ceremony of the keys, do that. I've got photographs up till that point, but when it comes to the ceremony of the keys, you cannot record, you cannot take photographs. It's really a unique event, and your name actually gets put in a book at the Tower of London. So I will link to that if you want to book that tour. It does get booked up very much in advance. It's not held over the winter. I think the 2nd of November is the last day that it's going to be held, that you can do the tour with walks. You can kind of try and book it yourself. I think it's £5 for just a regular, just go in without having the tour. But honestly, if you get an opportunity, this is an experience like no other. Second thing I want to talk about, second favourite experience, was I was able to spend some time at the V&A Museum in South Kensington. Now, I've been to many of the museums before in London. The V&A is my favourite, I have to say. I'm late, I guess, to go into the V&A because it was not a museum that I'd explored before, but I'm absolutely in love with it. Absolutely in love with it. So it was named the V&A in 1899 when a foundation stone was laid by Queen Victoria. And obviously it's called V&A, Victoria and Albert. So after Queen Victoria and her husband, Albert. And it's a museum for art, design and performance. And so my favourite things to do if you go to V&A are cast courts, which it was kind of built in 1873. There's a couple of cast courts, and it has copies of some of the world's most significant works of art, including reproductions of Michelangelo's David, Ghiberti's Gates of Paradise, just copies of art and architecture from around the world, which was really popular in obviously the Victorian era where people couldn't necessarily travel. Go there, it's free. It's fantastic. I could spend my life in the cast courts in particular. There's also there's fashion through the ages you can go and have a look at if you're interested in. Also go to the cafe, which is very, very pretty. I will put a picture in the show notes. And the shop. The shop at the V&A is absolutely fantastic. So if you're going to go to the V&A, give yourself a good few hours. Fantastic. Wonderful. And so there's obviously lots and lots of museums in London that you can visit. But that, for me at the moment, is absolutely my favourite, so I highly recommend it. So third favourite experience that you can have in London is to go somewhere to have a good view of London, because obviously you're walking around it all the time. You don't necessarily see it from up high. I have three favourites for this. So you've got the Sky Garden, which is free, the London Eye, or the Shard. So the Shard, unfortunately, this time I had booked for the view from the Shard, but because I think that, I don't know, they cancelled that, so I wasn't able to go. But I have been up the Shard before, so you get a great view. Sky Garden, you get a fantastic view. Tower of London, Tower Bridge, which again you get from the Shard, I guess, look in the opposite direction because they're on opposite sides of the Thames. And then the London Eye, which I can happily go on the London Eye every time I'm in London. Fantastic. Again, people will say to me, oh, I prefer this or I prefer the other. So I just want to actually say to you, you get different views. The Sky Garden and the Shard, you get views, as say, of Tower of London, Tower Bridge. If you go on the London Eye, you get views all the way down the Thames. You get Westminster, Big Ben. Fantastic views. So if you have the opportunity, I'd recommend booking one of those. As I say, the Sky Garden is free, but you have to book that in advance because they get very popular slots for that. And the London Eye and the Shard are kind of paid. So I know the Shard you can get through, you can kind of book that through the website, and also the London Eye, I'll put some links to where you can book for the London Eye. So that's my third. Fourth one is Changing of the Guard. Now, the last time I'd done the Changing of the Guard, I think I was quite young, so it was really good fun. To go to see the Changing of the Guard. Again, go to Westminster Barracks, you can see there, St James's Palace. Go to Horse Guards and see the guards on the horses there, and obviously at Buckingham Palace. So I'd recommend doing that. Book a tour again. There's Walks Do a Tour, which includes the Changing of the Guard. And obviously find out if you want to do it independently. I've got a guide to that. Also find out if it's actually on the day that you want to do it, because it's not necessarily on every single day. My fifth favourite experience this time was to take on a London bus. Now, there's three different ways you can take a London bus. One is you can take the regular London bus, any red London bus, and hop on and just take a ride through London that way. Another way you can do that is you can take a hop-on, hop-off bus. So this time I decided to try the big bus. I did the red route and the blue route. I have to say I found the red route much faster. It went through kind of central from Big Ben, round kind of London Eye, round to Tower Bridge, and then back round via St. Paul's. So that was quite a good circuit and not too, we weren't stuck in traffic, put it that way. So I actually enjoyed that. The blue route was a bit longer and we did get stuck a bit in traffic. So we kind of hopped off partway along the route. But I would recommend it though, because one of the good things about one of those hop-on, hop-off buses is actually that you can hop on and hop off where you want. It's a good way to orientate yourself if you're new to London and you're not sure where everything is. You'll actually see that if you do the red route, that things aren't too far apart, really. Obviously, the blue route will take you to a place like Kensington, so a little bit further afield. And the third type of bus that I did this time was I did Bridget's Bakery bus, which was really good fun. I did that with my friend Tracy, also called Tracy. Hi, big shout out to Tracy. And we did afternoon tea in the Bridget's Bakery bus, had a tour around London. Thoroughly enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. So I'd recommend if you fancy having an afternoon tea in a different environment, go book Bridget's Bakery bus, do the tour around London while you're enjoying your cake and your sandwiches and your cup of tea. So that was really good fun. Okay, the sixth favourite activity or experience I had in London recently is something I always do when I'm in London, to be honest, is I love to take a ride on the Thames. So whether you take an Uber boat down to Greenwich or whether you book a cruise down the Thames, I'd highly recommend it. It's just a wonderful way to get away from kind of the craziness of the streets and just kind of chill out as you sail down the Thames, and you get a different view of London because you've got the bridges, you've got the architecture you're seeing from the Thames. So I'd recommend doing that. So my favourite is probably to go from Westminster down to Greenwich Pier, get off at Greenwich, have a wander around Greenwich, and then jump back on either Uber or take a cruise. There's certainly lots of options. And like I say, for the hop on and hop off buses and for the cruises, I have got articles which kind of compare the different ones so you can see what would suit you. But as I say, definitely great ways to get around London and to give you kind of a different perspective. So my seventh favourite experience this time was food tours. I was very lucky to go on a few food tours. The first one I did was a Pints and Pubs tour, which was visiting historic pubs around the City of London. Excellent tour. Again, this was another walks tour. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. You get to, as well as trying finding out about all these historic pubs that I didn't know. Some of them, honestly, you go down like a little alleyway and there's this pub that's been there since 30 and something. And you'll find out famous people that drank in that pub as well. You get to try some of the different beers and also the food, which I thought was great. So, you have things like pork pie or sausage roll. But our absolute favourite, I have to tell you, was the Scotch egg, which was, I think, the third or fourth pub that we went to. It was we all agreed, the English people who were on the tour, it was the best Scotch egg that we had ever tasted. So if you want to try some traditional English food and you really want to try some of these pubs, want to find out where some of these historic, because I'm not going to tell you where these pubs are, you have to go on the tour. Fantastic. I'll put some photos in the show notes so you can have a look at some of these pubs. Brilliant, but really, really good tour. And the second food tour that I did this time was a tour of Borough Market. Wow. Again, Borough Market I've been to numerous times before, and I have got a couple of my favourite places to go to there. But it was really good to sample quite a few different dishes. So obviously we had some fish and chips, we had oyster, we had a sausage roll, we had the humble crumble, which was the best crumble I've ever had in my life. And it was very, very Instagram worthy, I have to tell you. So yeah, again, as I say, there will be photos of this in the show notes. I'm sorry that I can't show you over a podcast, but believe me, the food was amazing. And also we learned a lot of the history of that area as well, which was something that I wasn't as aware of as I really should have been. But that was good around Southwark Cathedral and some other kind of historic information about that area. There's a Clink prison. So you learn all about that on the tour as well. So that was really, really enjoyable. So my 8th favourite experience this trip was actually some of the things that I hadn't done before. Because obviously I've lived in London before and I've travelled to London numerous times, but there's so much to do in London that actually some things maybe got moved down the list. So I was very happy when I got an invite to pay for a tour. It wasn't a free, pay for a tour of Buckingham Palace. So in April, I had a tour along with I think there was about 15 of us on that tour of Buckingham Palace, which was fantastic. Friday afternoon, I think it was Friday afternoon or Saturday afternoon. We had an excellent guide and we saw these rooms that I'd just seen on television before, which it was great. It was really good, really interesting. And so I'd highly recommend if you get the opportunity to do a tour of Buckingham Palace. Say that was it wasn't like the summer opening where there'll be lots and lots of thousands of people descending. It was actually a small group tour. It was quite pricey. I'm not going to lie. It was quite expensive. So I did think twice, but again, it was really interesting and, really good experience. I've also visited the Royal Mews and that was just before the coronation. So I got to see they were preparing the different carriages. So that was interesting. I also visited Westminster Abbey and managed to go to the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Galleries, which you have to pay extra for, but I'd highly recommend that you do. You can't take photographs up there, but really, really interesting. I'm not going to tell you what you can see up there, but I'd highly recommend if you're going to Westminster Abbey, do a tour. Always do a tour because you're going to learn far more than you would if you don't, or you just got the earphones in, and go up to pay extra for the Diamond Jubilee Galleries because highly recommend it. And then the other new thing that I got to do this time actually was because I had a London pass, I decided to do the Tower Bridge experience. So that was really interesting because obviously I've seen Tower Bridge my entire life, but I've never climbed up it. So you get to go up to the top of Tower Bridge, you get to walk over this glass ceiling and see all the cars below you. So if you're not too keen on heights, maybe don't walk on that glass ceiling because it is a bit disconcerting to start with. But I took some really great videos of me walking over it. So I recommend doing that so you can actually find out about the history of Tower Bridge and how it was built. That was a really interesting experience. My 9th favourite experience, I say these are not in any particular order, was a day trip actually from London. So I do recommend if you're in London, consider a day trip if you've got time. There's lots of different places that you can go to from London. But my favourite in this last few months, and I know I talked about it in a podcast when I talked about the first sort of 3 weeks of my trip, was a day trip with John England Tours. And we went to Hever Castle and Ighton Mote. So that was a full day tour with John. And I cannot tell you how much I enjoyed that. It was really, really good. I learned a lot about the history. I learned a lot about those buildings and about the castle and about Anne Boleyn and her connection to Hever Castle. Ighton Mote was excellent. It was just really, really good if you've got interest in medieval history. And John made it really, really interesting. So honestly, if you are in London, you're planning to visit London, you have an interest in history or want to learn more about English history, then absolutely, I highly recommend contacting John England of John England Tours and booking a time with them so that you can go and learn a little bit more about English history. So I know I often talk to a lot of Americans who are coming over to the UK, if you're coming from America and you're listening to this and you're thinking, actually, I want to learn a little bit more about English history. I am interested in the Tudors. I am interested in medieval history. Then John England Tours is the tour to do in Southeast England and Kent. So you can actually listen to John as well in episodes 41, 19 and episode 6. So we've got plenty of episodes where John's been on the podcast to talk about his tours. So I'd highly recommend that. That leads me to number 10 of my favourite experiences, and that is my photo shoot with Dommy of Scalens Studios. So I was very lucky on this trip in that in April, I had a photo shoot with Dommy in Notting Hill and had probably one of my favourite photos I've ever had taken. Notting Hill is a beautiful, beautiful area for that. And then recently, a couple of weeks ago when Doug was here, we had a photo shoot together in Westminster, which was great. I mean, what more iconic place can you have a photo shoot in London? So we've got some fantastic photos with Big Ben in the background. We've got some lovely ones at a red telephone box. We've got some with Westminster Abbey. So what a wonderful way to, for us to remember our trip. So, we enjoy the traveling, but it's just amazing to look at the memories that we're going to have of this trip. So thank you very much, Domi, from Scale and Studio. And actually, the next part of the podcast, I'm actually going to talk to Tommy so you can find out all about how you can book your own photo shoot in London. So as I said, for my top 10 experiences in London, one of those is to have a photo shoot. And so today I've managed to get Domi, who is our preferred partner for UK travel planning, to come and talk to us to add that bit to the podcast, a little bit more information about why it is so special and why it is one of the best experiences that you can have in London. So Domi, would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course. So thank you for having me for your podcast. My name is Domi and I am holiday photographer in London. So I take care of people who are visiting London. So I'm physical here with you and I'm taking pictures of you. So I show you the best spot, where to go, from family photo shoot or for couple photo shoot or for even solo. And then I show you everything and take photos and we have so much fun. So you have someone here who kind of be your Insta friend. And if you have any question and, for example, something happened and you need someone, friend that you can trust, I am here and I can help you.
Absolutely. And for me, for Doug personally, obviously, we've done 3 photo shoots with you now. So Doug and I had one last year around the Tower of London, which was fantastic. And then I was very, very lucky and very spoiled. And I felt amazing that I had a photo shoot with you in Notting Hill, which is an area of London that I absolutely love, in April when it was a little bit cooler. And I've had some fantastic feedback about those photographs, which is just so lovely because I'm not necessarily a confident person in front of the camera, but you do an amazing job. And then just last week, Doug and I had a photo shoot with you in Westminster.
Yes.
So for us, it's really special to have that because we can remember those experiences and we have the photographs now. So I'm going to get some of those put up in our apartment. And I guess that's the sort of feedback you get from people coming to London.
Yes. And usually it's happening this all the time. It's like the feedback I'm getting is like, before someone booked me or when they booked, there's like, oh, Domi, but I don't know how to pose. I'm not feeling comfortable with this. On the front of the camera, but that's you have rights to feel like that, and you have rights to feel like that because like you know me from the screen, you don't know me when we met, and then just give me like around 10-15 minutes. Every time when we go to the next spot, I'm going to guide you.
Absolutely.
And then after like 10-15 minutes, you start feeling so much more comfortable.
Just really comfortable doing it. And I mean, I've seen the difference with the 3 photo shoots. Like, how much more confident was I on the third one, walking through, a Westminster?
Like
it's me, and even when we're in Notting Hill, I was far more confident. It's like, because you make me feel at ease, you make Doug feel at ease. And that's certainly the feedback that from with people in the Facebook group I've emailed and they said, oh, we've loved our photo shoot with Domi because not only do we get lovely photographs at the end and fantastic memories, but she makes it such a lovely process and we really enjoy it. And obviously, the best places to take the photos as well, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm a photographer in London for like almost 6 years now. So I get my time to learn all the best places and as well, like, I'm always asking you because the photo shoot is not for me, it's for you. So I'm always asking my clients, my guests, where would like to take pictures. If you have any special requests, for example, your first time in London, so probably you want to go Big Ben, London Tower Bridge. And then, I always double check with the clients who like, do you have any special requests? Where you want to take pictures? Which kind of photo shoot? Who is going to join for the photo shoot? For example, like small babies, we might find different location. For like older teenagers, we can find different locations. So I always try to accommodate everyone.
Absolutely.
Depends on from the small babies to adults. So everyone is welcome to our session.
And also I wanted to say, because in the last session that we did, I actually changed dresses. So, and that was something I'd spoken to Domi about. I'd spoken to her and said, well, I want to change outfit. And I was a bit like, where am I going to go to get changed? But the best places to go and get changed. And I was able to easily go quickly into a coffee shop, which you knew, and get changed, come out and then do the second half of the photo shoot in a different outfit.
Yeah. So this is like when we have photo shoots for like 1.5 hours, 2 hours, or 3 hours. Like, I don't really want you to have the same outfits all the time, because I want people to, when you post pictures on your social media, I want you to be, oh, you have photo shoot this day, this day. And we just did everything during one day. So I want you to change the outfit. So it gives different vibe and different like look. So that's why I always suggest you, like, okay, we can bring more outfits, and then we can go and change some coffee shop, restaurant, hotels. I know the places where it's okay to do that. And so if you have any like special requests and you want to change the outfit, just let me know how many outfits you have. And then when I plan the photo shoot, I always said, okay, this is like, you want to change here and here and here, as like, okay, so we can go there and there and there. So I organize everything like this, small details, so you don't really have to worry about anything.
And that's it. And then obviously, afterwards, when we've done the photo shoot, then you send us the pictures to choose from. So we chose, and that's how it goes. You kind of choose the pictures that you like.
So it depends on the package, like, because I have so many different packages. Some people, like, they want only not editing, because for example, they know how to edit, or they have special way of editing. So I don't mind, and send you everything not editing photos in the high resolution, and I send this with 24 hours. Or if someone wants to, like, Domi, I am on vacation, I don't want to bother myself with choosing which kind of photos I want to edit, just choose for me. So then I as well take care of this. I choose the pictures which one to edit, and I send with 1 week. And then obviously those images are good enough resolution that you can make them into, blow them up, and because I'm going to do that when I get back to Australia. Yes. There's certainly some of the pictures that I want to get made bigger because they're so nice and look lovely. So also you have to be careful because some printer, they are more like worse quality. The photos you can do, but you have to just make sure, like, the printer, the company where you're going to print the pictures, they provide like good quality. Because my photos, like, I provide for my site, but just make sure, like, the company where you're going also provide the high quality. Okay,
that's good to know. So anybody coming to London, obviously I recommend, say, one of the top experiences that you can have when you're in London is to have a photo shoot with Domi. It just is a fantastic way to, immortalize your memories, isn't it?
Exactly.
And you can look back on that trip that you've had, whether it was a trip of a lifetime to London. They've got the memories, and you can look at those for years to come. So how do people go about booking with you, Domi?
So you can go to my website, skinlandstudio.com. We're going to add this link later. And then you can choose. I have so many packages. I have packages for one person, for couple, for family photo shoot. You choose package which one is going to suit you the best. Choose the day, choose the hour, and then you can make the booking. And also I have 2 options of payment. So you can pay deposit now, and later when it's the meeting photo shoot time, then we pay the rest. So you can pay everything automatically. You don't have to bring the cash. And as well, we have a gift for...
Absolutely, yes, we do. Special offer for those of you following the podcast or in our Facebook group. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're not a member of the Facebook group, I would pop over, because you never know what's going to come up in the Facebook group as well. But it's a special offer. So you give 10 extra images. That's correct. And then 10% discount as well. Is that got a deadline on that offer for the 10% off, Domi?
Yes. So for you, the deadline will be generally the deadline is till June, end of the June. But because of you and our great corporation, I will be very happy to offer for your followers, for your clients, till end of September.
Oh, excellent. So 30th of September. Excellent. Yes. So that'll be 10% off, as well as the 10 extra images. So, you need to get booked with Domi and have your photos taken when you're in London. And I will put a link to Domi's website on the show notes for this episode, with everything else we kind of talked about in the episode, but specifically, so you can actually pop over to have a look at what Domi offers. And on the website, there's some excellent photographs of people that she's taken, not just me and Doug, but also lots of the other kinds of families, couples. I know you've done some wedding proposals as well, haven't you?
Oh, yes, that's my favorite one. Because people who are coming, the clients I have, they're very positive vibe because they're on a holiday.
Yeah.
This is the first time. It's like a big trip for many, many people. You, for example, for you would be a big trip to London. So I like the people that are coming with the positive vibe. And it's like, I show the Big Ben. They're like, oh my God, there's a Big Ben. And as well, like, I have so many people who, like, the woman, they always dream to be proposed in London. So I contact the gentleman or the lady, and then we organize everything, and then we do the surprise propose as well. And it's so exciting and a little bit stressful if she or he is going to say yes, but I really like it.
And that's good. And everybody said yes so far?
So at the moment, yeah, things good.
That's good.
Yeah, I will know, personally, I will have no idea what to do if someone say no.
Oh, I'm sure they won't. I'm sure it'll always go really well. So if you're thinking about doing a proposal, then you can contact Domi and she'll organise all of that with you when you're in London. Yeah. And we obviously want to see the photos as well, because it'd be amazing. But yeah, is there anything else you want to share with us today, Domi? I know we have got a previous podcast as well, episode, where I chat to you about kind of everything behind the scenes and how long you've been in London and so how you set up the business, which is really interesting. And I'm very keen, I always say it as well, to support a local business, a female-run business as well. I'm really, really keen. And, you know, this lady works extremely hard, really, really hard, and has set up an excellent business in London. So this is the person you want if you want to have a photo taken in London, a photo shoot.
Yes, thank you so much. And as well, like what you just say, like this is great souvenir. Like when you're coming to London and you can buy plenty of stuff, like small stuff put on you, like in the room or something. But I think picture is so magical because you catch the moment of now when the children is small, they're teenager, or when you're like just get married with your partner. Yeah. And I think it's so magical when you're like back to the picture for next like 20 or 30 years, and your children might say like, oh, thank you for doing this. Thank you for organizing this. So it's more than just a picture. It's like memories for forever. So I highly recommend it to do everyone, because this moment, maybe you'll be not back to London anymore, or, you know, something, you're going to change your plans and go to another part of the world, or your children, they're not going to be anymore like 2 or 3 years old. So I think it's such a great idea to always, when you travel, to capture the moments of your holidays and treat this like the best souvenir.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks so much, Domi, for coming on the podcast again. It's great to talk to you.
Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye. Bye. Thank you for joining me for episode 54 of the UK Travel and Planning podcast. And you can find links to all the experiences I talked about in this episode at uktravelplanning.com/episode 54. Also, please check out our new London travel planning website too for further ideas, inspiration and practical tips. That's at londontravelplanning.com. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider supporting us via the Tip Your Guide button on our website, or perhaps becoming a monthly sponsor of our podcast, just like Danielle Nowotny, who just did this week. Thank you so much, Danielle. We really appreciate your support. Anyway, that just leaves me to say for this week, as usual, happy UK travel planning.